and welcome to the Adventure Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Nurayda Albeez, and today I am excited to bring you a discussion that explores the potential of student empowerment. Joining me today is my fifth grade teacher who wears many hats in the Barnard Elementary School community, Miss Deanna Dutts. Miss Dutts, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Of course. To get us started, could you please tell us about your various roles in Barnard?
Absolutely. I'm a fifth grade teacher. I've been a fifth grade teacher for 19 of my 20 years. I had 1 year where I actually taught gym. I was half here and half at Waddle, so that was really a great experience. I'm also a head teacher here at Barnard. I share that role with Mrs. Simon. We basically help out in all ways of the school, whether we're supporting teachers, whether we're supporting students. We really help Mrs. Bush, our principal here, in any capacity. I also am in charge of the service squad here. Students of our service squad, they're really a huge part of our community. They have different roles around the building. They help out teachers, they help out students do various tasks. They really are role models around our building community. I'm also in charge of our bus safeties here with Miss Tanis. She helps out. She's our fourth grade teacher here. Those students, their responsibilities are helping students, our kindergarten friends and our first grade friends, get to and from the bus safely. They also ride that bus and make sure that people are following the rules on there, making sure that we're safe on those buses. And I am actually a part of our announcement crew team as well, so that I work with Mr. Pudjakowski and Mr. Hill on that, and they're phenomenal. I'm sure you're well aware because you did announcements at Baker, but we have a student crew that they're, bring the news every day. They bring sports and weather and joke of the day, thought of the day, really any kind of news that need to be shared for our Barnard community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so not only was Miss Dutts my fifth grade teacher, but she was also my mentor for bus safety. And one thing I want to share is that I remember coming into bus safety and just having this drive to have the biggest impact that I can have, because the passion and love for service that Miss Dutts has is contagious and spreads to her students. And so my next question for you is, how else do the programs that you lead foster both leadership and responsibility in students?
Wow, that is a pretty loaded question for our students to and our community to understand. It's Service Squad and bus safeties. Those two programs in itself are big with our students in responsibility and integrity. For example, in our service squad, they have tasks that they have to make sure that they are, accomplishing, and they need to be doing those pretty much on their own. I mean, they have to walk to the student or to the teacher's room and then perform the task, and then when they're done, they need to check out and they have to go outside. So it's like integrity is a part of it, responsibility is a part of that, and really doing the best that they possibly can do. Our bus safeties, that is a huge a part of our community where I already mentioned previously that they have to walk our students to and from the buses, but it's so much more than that. They're building positive relationships with other students. It's so great to see when they're walking to and from the buses. They're not just walking students. It's more than that. It's bigger than that. They are, asking them, how was your day? They are making sure, if they're sad, they're saying, what's wrong? How can I help? It's really them just being a leader and being helpful and feeling like what they're doing matters. It makes a difference, and it really does. I mean, it's funny, I was just walking with a bus safety out to the buses today, and another student called out to them. They're like, hey, how's it going? And it's like to see a younger student look up to that fifth grader and they're like asking them how their day was. It's like because they know them, they have made that connection with them. And so it really is a big part of not just that fifth grader who's out there and feeling like I am making a difference, but it makes a huge impact on those students who they're actually helping.
One anecdote I just thought of that I want to share is that fifth grade is like the year where you get to sit at the back of the bus.
Oh my gosh, that's big.
And it is like the coolest thing ever. I mean, I remember on my first day of fifth grade, I had my new outfit, my new backpack, and I got into the bus and I went to the very back row. I had like one of the first few stops, so I got to get the good seats. And it was like the coolest experience ever. But I found that as the year progressed and as I really got to know our kindergartners and developed special relationships with them and friendships, I didn't sit at the back of the bus anymore. I started sitting at the front next to our kindergartners, next to our first graders, because our conversations about their day, their recess, the snow day they had before their birthday, or if it was their birthday, they would ask me to sit next to them. And I didn't really want to sit at the back anymore. You know, I thought that the beauty of being a fifth grader is that you are that person that everyone looks up to. You are the bus safety, and you don't just help students be safe on the bus, but comfortable, and you help them feel welcome. And so bus safety is definitely one program that helped me become a leader, helped me become more responsible, and I think helped create a more uplifting school atmosphere.
And can I just say too, like, I know you totally took this seriously. Every single time I remember getting on the bus, and if somebody was I have a certain person in my mind was having a rough day, like you were always that first one to be like, I've got this. I'm going to come and I'm going to continue building this relationship with this person. And, you know, it's really remarkable. And I know that these people remember that. So that was huge. I remember that about you.
So through these questions and these ideas, I think we're really touching on the idea of student empowerment. And as a student, I'm going to have a different perspective on what student empowerment means to me, and so will you. I now want to dive into the question of what does student empowerment mean to you, and how do you approach student empowerment in everything that you were a part of?
So student empowerment is about giving students the opportunity to show that they can think and they can react in tough situations, how they can stay motivated to complete what is given to them, and for them to make the decisions that is going to be to better their lives for not only for themselves, but for those around them. I really want students to dare to be different, you know, in their styles of what, you know, how they approach, you know, situations and how they are solving those problems. That's really truly how it all comes together, is when they're reacting to a tough situation, like how are they going to make the situation better, right? How are they going to help those students around them solve those problems that they're trying to fix? I do feel like we really do learn from our mistakes. So in this classroom, I never talk at my students. I always want to talk with them. So when we're trying to solve those problems, I don't just come and say, this is how we solve them. I really want my students to arrive on those decisions with me. And so that's why I feel like I'm more of a coach with them rather than instructing them on what to do. And I do that through questioning. I really just want those students to understand, like, this is their life. You know, I want them to be able to fix and solve, right? And so that's kind of where our fifth grade themes come about. I actually had this one year that I was teaching a long time ago. It was with Mrs. Paulus, who's actually a principal currently, and a past teacher who's retired, Mr. Hayes. And that was really the pivotal year for us as a group of teachers coming together and saying, like, how can we get students to feel empowered to make a difference and to just feel like what they're doing matters. And so that's when we came about thinking, well, themes are the best way to do that, right? And so we've had past themes like desire to inspire, vision quest, game changers, change agents, just trying to find ways to motivate students, to empower them to do, you know, what they can. And so like ours, I'm sure many of our viewers that went to Barnard in your senior year, remembers our theme was the world awaits.
Yeah.
And so in this particular theme, it was all about trying to figure out, like, the world is waiting for you. What are you going to do with your chance? What are you going to do with your opportunity? And so that's really our driving force in all of our themes, is trying to get students to feel like what they do matters and to empower them to do more.
Yeah. And in case our viewers were wondering, me and Miss Dutts are matching today. We're wearing my 5th grade year's shirt, which has our theme of The World Awaits written on it. And this was purely coincidental. We did not communicate this, but we were on the same wavelength and decided to wear this shirt. And I think that goes to show how impactful the 5th grade themes really are. I want to share that the very first time that I saw this theme and I saw this shirt, I was very confused. I was in Miss Dutts' classroom, and I remember thinking, this is just so crazy. Why would the world await me? I'm just a little girl from Michigan. I'm not even that good at basketball. Like, what do I have to offer the world? But I think the beauty of these themes is that as us 5th graders progress through that year, for me, as I continue to be a bus safety, and continue to see how I was able to positively impact these kindergartners and 1st graders, I came to realize that I might not be old, I might not be in high school or in college, but I do have something special to offer the world. And this morning when I wore this shirt, I remember playing through that in my mind again and thinking how now, 7 years later, I think about this theme and I have another different perspective. And now when I think about The World Awaits, I think that yes, the world does await me. I do have something unique to offer, and I have a more clear pathway of how I want to make that happen and how I can embody this theme. So this is one of my favorite ways, I think, that you are a part of to empower students. I now want to dive into the question of what other strategies do you use to help your students recognize that they may already have the tools that they need to lead and make a difference?
Mm-hmm. So there are so many things that, I can't take credit for that we do here at Barnard that are just really beautiful ways of teaching students strategies on how to truly be empowered on their own. We have a culture committee that I am not in charge of by any means, but we have a wonderful committee that comes together and they make what's called nest lessons. And I think you probably remember back in your day, it was a little bit different. This, for now, we have our older grades and we partner up with their younger grades and we learn different strategies on how to stand up for what is right, stand up for each other, and to stand up for ourselves in the right way. And just to be a change maker is really what it's about. And that's one way that our school does it. Other strategies that we have is obviously I talked about through themes. And so our theme this year, we do Order of the Blue Jay, and that's a kind of a spin-off on Harry Potter and all the different houses. But really it's about, who's showcasing hard work, who is clever, who is someone who is creative, who is responsible, who has the courage to stand up for what is right. And so with those types of strategies, we want to acknowledge students that are showcasing like their knowledge behind these strategies, that want to do the right thing, especially like having integrity. That's a really big part of it. And so we acknowledge students through like our Ticket to Fly program, where students, if they do something well, then, we say, thank you for following our 3 R's. We have 3 R's here at Barnard, which is showing responsibility and respect and building positive relationships. So if we see a student doing one of those initiatives, we acknowledge them and we give them a Ticket to Fly. And here we give Tri-Wizard Cup points and house points. And as a whole 5th grade, we come together and we give a prefect award for someone who is showcasing strategies and just daring to be different and doing it in their own way. And so, the strategies that are behind, and the tools that we find in our students, they come up with new ways all the time to showcase student empowerment. I have someone on our newscast crew who always comes up to me and says, hey, I have this great idea. Can we try and do this? And I'm like, yes, please. Our service squad and our bus safeties, those are student governed, student led. All of those programs are showing, student empowerment, and they take their jobs really seriously because they know, what the impact is on others. And so, many students have these tools in it. It's just I provide opportunities for them to be able to just put that right foot forward so that they can, showcase themselves in the best light.
Yeah. you touched on this idea of giving opportunity to our students. And I think that is so integral to the development of leadership and responsibility in students, because oftentimes bus safety or service squad or the announcement production team, that is going to be like the first big leadership opportunity that students have. And I know some people in other districts, other states, where high schoolers come in and do that. And I think our program here at Barnard, here in the Troy School District, is beautiful because we are allowing our students to become leaders and allowing them to take care of our school community and make it a better place. So I think that's something really beautiful and special that we have here that has a lasting impact on our students. And oftentimes when I talk to my Barnard peers now, bus safety and service squad are like one of our fondest memories because we build such beautiful relationships with our peers. Now that I've said that, a memory comes to mind from when I was in 5th grade, where there was a character discussion happening with, I think it was our first graders, and some of us 5th graders were called down to talk about some different core values. And the core value that I was given was integrity. And so we all went into the cafeteria to talk to the students about it. And I saw a lot of students that I knew, and I was like, oh my God, so happy to see them in a different environment outside of the bus, and talk to them about something, a character trait that that meant a lot to me, and share some wisdom about it, and have them learn from me and me learn from them. I think is a really beautiful chance to have. So before we move now into our last question, I want to share something else about me and Ms. Dutts' relationship. So as we've seen in this discussion, Ms. Dutts is awesome and she's involved in so many things here at Barnard, but Ms. Dutts also has a very special place in my heart because you are the very first person who told me that I was a leader. You were the first person who came up to me and said, Nurayda, you are a leader. You are going to become a better leader in the future, and you have what it takes to have a positive impact on other people. At the end of our 5th grade year, every year we do paper plate awards. And the paper plate award that Miss Dutts gave me was the Presidential Award.
I remember that.
And Miss Dutts in that realm was also, I think, the first person who said to me, Nurayda, if you become president, I will vote for you. And so through that, and really just through middle school and high school, there have been so many moments where I've been in a situation in some sort of conflict, and I think to myself, okay, how can I embody Miss Dutts' empathy-mindedness, and how can I resolve this conflict in a mature, positive way? So now I want to give all of our viewers an opportunity to gain some wisdom and mentorship for you as well. I want to ask you, what traits do you think make students stand out as remarkable leaders in the programs that you lead? And what overall advice would you give to our student leaders who are watching today?
I do want to say before I answer that question that literally that memory about you being a president, it is the first thing that I think about every time I think Nurayda. I'm like, if you're going to be president, I'm going for president. I am going to vote for you. You got my vote. Just because you are very empathetic and you really do understand just putting yourself in other people's shoes all the time. You think and you bring it all together before you make a decision. It's always an informed decision.
Thank you.
And that kind of segues into my thinking process. I would say that students that stand out to me as being remarkable are ones that are creating an environment that welcomes all walks of life. Those that engage with others on a level that works for them and really encourages others to collaborate with them and dare to be different and be creative and just be a true inspiration for others. I do find that we're so comfortable, especially as teachers, to look for leaders that are like standing up and saying, pick me, I will lead you there, I'll take you there. But really, like, everyone has their own way, their own style. And you can be an introverted leader and do your thing. You don't have to stand up. I feel like you can sit down, you can lay down, you can dance, you can do all of those things and be a leader in your own way, whatever you are most comfortable with. Those are the people that I look to, are just people that want to make a difference, people that truly care and are passionate. And so those are the people that I look to for my leaders in our classroom. And I do also find that maybe people don't truly understand what they have. And so I feel like it's our job as teachers, as friends, as other leaders, is to look and find out what is so great about the person next to you and how can I build that up. And so once you can figure that out, that motivation, you help that person and you help them develop themselves as a leader. And so I don't just look for one person or one type. I really just always keep an open mind. And so it kind of leads me into what is my advice for leaders is understanding your worth and understanding really what it is that makes you great. And if you don't know what that is yet, then try to figure it out, or your friends will help you develop that and figure it out, and then really make that your thing, and develop that. If you are someone who is a great listener, then maybe that's your gift. And understanding your empowerment gift is something that is huge advice to understand, and be open to the fact that you do have something to offer, because a lot of times we're extremely humble. I mean, you for example, are extremely humble in everything that you do. And it's okay to acknowledge those things and say, hey, like, this is what I have to offer, And so my advice is be open and try to dare to be different and just lead the way you want to lead, and others will follow. So
very beautifully said, Ms. Dutts. And two things from that really resonated with me were, number one, anyone can be a leader. Leaders come in all shapes and sizes, and leaders are not always extroverted people. Sometimes the best leaders are introverted people. And the second thing you mentioned is just that all leaders have their own pathway. And it's normal to take time to recognize that you are a leader, or to take time to step outside of your comfort zone. I think when I think back to 5th grade, I think about how hard or challenging it might have been for me to initially take that step of leadership in bus safety. But once I did, everything else now is history to me. And so the advice that I would add on to that and say is to just find that bit of courage to take that first step to try and be a leader. Because after you take that one big step, the rest of the steps are not going to be as big. And you will become more passionate about what you're doing. And after many years, you might look back on that, and I think you'll be happy you took that step, and you'll reflect on how much you've grown and how awesome of a decision it was.
And realize too the impact that you may not even realize that you're having on someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, Ms. Dutts, I want to thank you for all of the inspiration that you've given me and so many other students. I mean, today when I wore this shirt to school, so many students were like, why are you wearing this shirt? And I was like, I'm recording a podcast with Ms. Dutts. And they were like, I love Ms. Dutts. So the impact that you have had on your students does not go unnoticed. And your dedication and selflessness have created incredible opportunities for us to grow. I mean, I remember seeing you as a kindergartner every day, regardless of the weather, the rain, the snow, whatever it may be, outside facilitating bus drop-off. And when I got you as my 5th grade teacher, I was so excited because I had a celebrity as my teacher. And so your inspiration happens to students of all grades. And I'm really excited for future students to get to learn from you and truly make the most of the experiences that you provide.
Nurayda, I do want to say too, I'm so super proud of you. Every walk of life that you have had, even in our building and then even years beyond, everybody knows Nurayda. And anytime that we say, Nurayda Albeez, that, the first thing they say is, oh my goodness, like, she is so passionate. She is someone who truly cares. And that is why every single time I say Nurayda for president is because literally you are one of the strongest humans that I have ever met. And I'm just so super proud of everything that you have accomplished in your life and that you're going to accomplish. And so I'm so honored that you chose me to be here and to talk about student empowerment, because you truly embody student empowerment and you lift others up. And that is literally what this is all about.
Thank you, Miss Dutts. That really means a lot coming from you. So with that, I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast, The Adventure Mindset. I am your host, Nurayda S. Albeez. Thank you for listening.